folks, it's been a while. I missed last week's video, but this week we'll be explaining why. It's really friggin' hot today. It's probably about 32 degrees in my studio. I had a video planned for last week, but I didn't get around to it, so I'm just gonna use that footage again, and it'll be fine. You haven't seen it. You'll never know. I didn't even have to say anything. Shall we get to it? Hello everyone, how are you all doing? Welcome to the voiceover portion of the video. I think this video is going to be recorded in fits and spurts because it is probably about 32 degrees in my office right now. I am just sweating bullets. It is so... I can't even believe how hot it is. When we moved in last year, it was about mid-August, so the heat was a little bit more manageable than this. I am going to melt. I'm going to turn into a little puddle and fall down the stairs, and someone's gonna have to clean me up. Now, I probably could take the microphone and move downstairs and do something there, but I don't know. I like being able to see what I'm talking about when I'm doing it. I watch the video back and I comment on it, but I'm thinking that this video is gonna be less talking about the video and more talking about my week. So the last 2 weeks, I started a new job. It is at an art store and I am enjoying it very much. It's a little bit challenging. I'm not used to customer service work, which I do a small amount of. Most of the day it is doing shipping responsibilities, which is part of my wheelhouse. And then after about 3 or 4 or so, that ends and I kind of have to make my own time for the next hour. And I kind of have to figure out what's going on with that. But until then, I'm just doing my best and we'll see how it works. The other thing that happened this week was that I was in an art show. It is a yearly event in Edmonton. It's called the Edmonton Art Walk. And pretty much the most walkable road is converted into art space. So you buy like a spot that's either a tent or a table. Tables are 5 foot by 10 foot and tents are 10 foot by 10 foot, and you can set up a little like camping tent or whatever and show off your art, and it's great, and people buy it and people look at it, and this piece that I'm working on, this little worried baby face, is actually one of the last pieces that I drew for this art show, just kind of rounding out my roster. I had 20 paintings and 18 slots for paintings, and as luck would have it, I just happened to break 2 frames on the first day that I was there, and it was kind of a sign of things to come. And I did only stay for 1 day. I felt after the first day that I simply wasn't ready for this kind of commitment. I probably should have aimed my sights a little bit lower for my first day. This event takes place over 3 days, and it's about 12 hours end to end, set up to tear down. It was a little bit much, especially starting a new job at the same time. So the good things about it are that I got a lot of reaction for my art. Most of it was positive. Nobody actually bought anything, which is actually, kind of a mixed bag, because on one hand, I would have liked the money, but on the other hand, I didn't have pictures of most of my stuff, which is one thing that I did wrong of many. So lesson 1, make sure that you're 100% prepared for everything. I had the shelving set up, I had the tent, I had the chairs, I had the table to do my little art doodles while I was waiting for people to come by and say, oh, that's a lot of color, or, ooh, that's a lot of color. Although I did have one guy that came around and asked me if I painted evil. I asked him a couple times to repeat what he said, because I'm sure that what I heard was wrong, and what I heard was, do you paint evil? That was correct. That was what he meant. I have no idea what he meant by what he meant. He kind of wandered off after that. It was very strange. The second thing I learned was bring sunscreen, because even though you are under a tent, the sun will poke through. And it's kind of a little embarrassing to be showing up to work with one arm fine and the other one as red as a lobster. The third thing I learned was make sure that you have items of multiple price ranges. I only had 2 price ranges, the small ones being $100 and the large ones being $150, and that kind of leaves the little passerbys, the small change friends, out of the loop. So maybe I should have had a couple of like little 5x7s or something for like 30 or 40 bucks. Would have been good, would have been fine. I didn't have that. I did have a couple of friends there sitting very close by. Had professional experience with these sort of events. They tend to go to them quite often and sell their wares as they will. And even though they told me that Friday's usually not a very busy day for sales, they still made money, whether that was through prints or through small originals. I think the person beside me made about $150 in a day, which is not bad. I say not bad. I didn't make any money, so it's a damn sight better than what I did. Fourth thing I learned is have something to say. People want to hear you talk about the art that they're looking at. They want to hear about the methods that you used and the colors, and like I was like, yeah, thanks, it's Mungyo. How was your day? It doesn't have to be pretentious. It doesn't have to be like, oh, I was thinking about the separation of humanity from their baser instincts when I drew this. I conceived of it during a 3-day drug binge in Amsterdam. But you know, it's gotta be more than like, I like color. There's gotta be like a happy little middle ground there that is between the gulf of talking about, you know, what shoes you bought and talking about how your mother never loved you and that's how you turned to the arts. The fifth thing I learned was grow a thicker skin, you baby. Some people are just not gonna like your art, and there's nothing that you can do about it. Their taste is unaccounted for. And while I did get a lot of smiles and compliments, I also got a lot of kinda, frankly, a little, like, disgusted little looks and like, I don't know. It was not something that I was prepared for, which is kind of a little silly because my style is very different, to put it diplomatically. I'm not looking to insult myself. I think I do pretty good portrait work, but it's not everyone's wheelhouse. So the people who did enjoy it really enjoyed it, and they were not shy in telling me that they enjoyed it. And the people that didn't enjoy it were equally not shy. I don't know, maybe if there was like a little kids table there that I could have sat at, because most of these artists were quite a bit more experienced than me at the mediums that they were choosing to show off. I've only been doing this since January, and I think next year will be a much better showing, and I think next year I will be more confident in showing. So the sixth thing is kind of related, but it's different enough that I'm going to include it into its own little category, and it's know your audience. So the work that I do is probably more suited to commissions than to selling pieces by themselves. Mostly for the fact that, like, it'd be really cool to see yourself in one of these styles, but maybe you don't want some random kid just taking up space on your wall. And I was a little nervous. I didn't want to put myself out too much. You know, I'm only showing all the art that I've done for the last 8 months on display there, and you know, I don't really want to put myself out too much, so I didn't advertise commissions, and that was probably a mistake. I probably could have made a couple of dollars if I had. Probably would have been easier too, because I just, you know, half up front and half when I deliver, and take me a couple hours to knock out each one. It'd be fine. And the seventh thing I learned was don't invest in a single event. So what I mean by that is that overall the price for this single event was about $600, give or take. And that's including costs of art materials and framing. That's including the actual cost of the ticket, because you do pay a fee to reserve a spot to show your stuff. That also includes the cost of materials for shelving, which I actually got off easier on because my fiance is a friggin' genius and found a way to show off my display. She built shelving that was probably about 1/6 of the cost to get an equivalent amount of shelving / storage in the form of like grid walls and stuff. So yeah, that was overall, it was probably about $400 on top of the cost of the ticket. So that's $400 that still exists, ready to be used to split the cost up between multiple shows. And so if you're just going to one show with one chance to sell things, that's a lot of money to just invest. But if you're going to 10 shows with 10 chances to sell things, suddenly your odds of making that money back are a lot better. So invest in things that last, but don't blow the bank. So my overall conclusion to this is that it was a worthwhile experience. Maybe it wasn't worth the money that my fiance and I put into it, but we were also not under the impression the job kind of came out of nowhere. And so this was gonna be one of the ways that I make up rent this summer, was maybe selling a lot of stuff and getting my name out there. It would have been nice to stay for the 3 days. It would have been nice to sell out entirely and have nothing but an empty tent for passerbys to look into and be amazed at my beautiful shelving and nothing else. It was a little optimistic to think that I would get to that state. To be honest, will I do it again? Absolutely. And next time it'll be better. Next time I'll sell something. Next time I'll be ready. And now, generally speaking, here's the time where I kind of drift off into music and everything's all like triumphant, but I still got a couple of minutes to kill. well, maybe about 50 seconds. So I'm just gonna keep talking and then I'm gonna stop and then it's gonna be good. God, I always do this. I always fail to plan exactly how much time I need to talk. And so I always end up with either too much or too little time right at the very end, and I just have to wing it. This whole thing is an exercise in winging it. I don't think I've actually scripted anything since early May. So now I'm really just talking until the sweat leaves my body and I am just a dried mummy on the desert floor. Have a wonderful day and I'll see you on camera. Look, it's even framed and everything. So, these last 2 weeks or so have been a lot for me. I'm hoping to kind of get into like a proper rhythm now that I've got things to do. I'm gonna be doing my best to keeping up with the uploading schedule. The few of you that are interested will still see my mug once in a while. Until then, I hope you all have a wonderful week and I will see you. I believe my new schedule will be uploads on Saturday instead of Friday. So I'll see you next Saturday. See ya.